Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Prion Joni. So recently, I had the honor of being invited to speak for a DJ class at MIT. The class is called DJ Culture and Performance, and is taught by one of MIT's GameLab research scientists, Philip Tan. His main job is basically to teach students how to program video games, but one of his big passions is in DJ culture, art, and history. Now, I'm going to show you my presentation, but first I have to say, as a person who didn't finish college, I was a little bit nervous speaking about my career to a room full of some of the brightest people I ever met. The last time I spoke at a college, pretty much the only thing the students were interested in was to how to get gigs, and they weren't really too interested in my talks about technical and the future and career. They just wanted to get in the clubs that I was playing at in their college town. But the MIT students, they were asking some pretty deep questions, and I was getting a sense of an engineer's approach when we're discussing DJ gear. It was really meaningful to see such an interest for the mixing arts from such an impressive group of students. Now, the class itself is a 4-week credited trial course, and MIT granted Philip to teach this class in January. And the goal is to get it approved to be a full course with funding. And outside of the credited class, Philip has been hosting several DJ workshops for students, helping them master the craft. And some of the lessons he's taught in the credited class actually is like the history of beat matching and the first DJ mixer. I even learned a few things about mixing in key that Philip broke down. A lot of the knowledge that Philip is sharing are things that I don't even think most DJs know about. I had a few pop quiz polls up here on my YouTube channel, and some folks think that Grandmaster Flash invented beat matching and scratching. If you want to see some of the lessons and discussions Philip has done for his workshop, I'll leave the link to his YouTube channel right here. And I'm really, really rooting for this class to become a full course at MIT. There's some DJs out there that like to express what they feel is good or bad for DJ culture. And they go to things like using the sync button and not starting out on vinyl as bad for the culture. Well, what Philip is doing for this class, as well as all the students involved, I think that's great for the culture. So Philip came to me, invited me to speak about life after the class. Basically, what they can do once they completed the class if they wish to pursue it further. Now, I'm going to show you my full talk because I think it's something that might be valuable, not just to MIT students, but to many of you, especially the folks starting out who are beginners. So here it goes. My name is PJ Villaflor. I go by Prion Joni. It's actually my real first name. And basically, Philip invited me here to talk to you guys about life after class as far as a DJ career goes. So I put this talk together called Being an Artist in the Real World, and I'll walk you through some of my experiences and lessons that I learned. So currently in my career, I've been doing clubs and festivals, mostly clubs, since 2002, and I haven't done any big festivals, but it's usually local festivals that bring big artists that I've done, but it's been mostly clubs between open format and specialized genres like electronic music. I also produce music, I remix music, and I compose, so I actually have a few releases which we'll talk about in a little bit. I'm a YouTube content creator, and while my YouTube started in 2009, I would say I've been doing it professionally since 2017. I've been doing a lot of reviews, product demonstrations, and lessons. Along with that, I've been doing a specialized type of set for my performances where I bring in musical instruments, specifically my guitar. I started doing that in 2017. That's kind of my signature thing to do, is to play guitar and play with DJ gear live. Excuse me. And I've been a pioneer product demonstrator since 2018. And I'm also an instructor for digital DJ tips since 2019. So some of the stuff that I've done is in 2011, I've released an official remix featuring Lil Jon. The song's called Get Naked by DJ Control. 2011, I got to play main stage at our local festival. It was called 515 Alive. It was in downtown Des Moines, right on the bridge. That's me and my MC. My MC's name is Drew Soy. That's him on the left side. 2014, I was voted best DJ of my city. And 2016, I did a release that featured Tovlo. It was actually an official remix, and it charted #1 on the Billboard Dance Club charts. Not my remix, but the whole release as a whole. 2016 to 2019, I was touring with a tuner car show called Hot Import Nights. And 2018 to 2019, within Hot Import Nights, I hosted my own DJ competition. And in 2019, I won the Red Bull 3 Style Live Remix competition, which is basically, it's different from the main 3 Style DJ battle. It's one where they said there's no rules with gear. We want you to do a live remix. And what I did was I involved my guitar and other instruments with the DJ gear. So basically, through my journey, here's a couple important lessons I learned along the way that I think that you guys might find valuable. #1, I know this might sound cliche, but it's important to set goals and define your objective, even if it means you're just doing this as a hobby or a pastime. Like if you're just doing this as a hobby, set a goal for, I want to get better at scratching, I want to get better at mixing. It just helps you direct you to the right direction. Or if you want to become a club, lounge, or bar DJ. And other examples are if you want to be a producer and make music or remixes, define that. Like, be clear that, that's what you want. And before I keep going, just, it's okay to be more than one of these. You don't have to be any single one. And then if you want to be a festival or show DJ, underground music, if you're into techno, if you want to be a battle DJ, competition, if you want to run your own mobile DJ business or become a content creator or a streamer, just, define your objective. The reason why all this is important is because by having your goals, you can qualify the advice you receive from others based on your goals. So one of my favorite quotes is, take only the advice or suggestions from those who achieve the goals you want to reach and is practicing said advice. The best advice is from experience, but sometimes the best experience are from others. This helps you go to the right source for the best advice. And, sometimes a lot of people will tell you what they think you should be doing. But one of the things that I practice, and I practice it quietly, I don't tell people I reject their advice, but don't seek advice from those who have not achieved what you're looking to achieve, And here's a couple of examples. If you want to learn scratching, you don't go to a DJ who doesn't scratch. Kind of common sense. If you want to grow a mobile DJ business for weddings or corporate events, you don't ask an underground techno DJ who has no experience in that. And if you want to get on the festival stage, you don't ask the scratch DJ who's just doing it as a hobby. And in fact, with the festival stage, a lot of people have a dream to get on the festival stage, and then they get advice from people who only do clubs or people who only do mobile gigs. So it's good to qualify the type of advice you get, because you can basically I don't want to use the word shortcut, but you can basically get fine tune everything that you take in so that you're more in the direction that you're trying to go to. So there was an old saying maybe 15 years ago that says the short road to success as a DJ is to make music. And I want to take the liberty to update this for 2022. The short road to success as an artist is to create content. And here's some examples. Making music or remixes is creating content. Being a social media personality, that's content. Being a video creator or a streamer. Resonating or relating to non-DJs somehow in a tangible way, which, is just an extension of being a social media personality. But the resonating to non-DJs is really important, because sometimes you can be a DJ's DJ and you might not be growing an audience of non-DJs, which is exponentially larger. And the reason why we want to do this is because you cannot share the experience of DJing at a club or an event after the performance. Yeah, you could probably record it. You could record it on video, share the mix, but the experience itself that other people experience is not really something you can share. It's for that moment, that one time that you played at that one place. And it's not something people can pop into their car, pull up on Spotify, pull up on YouTube. It's something that is for that night because it was a moment, it was a feeling. And content, however, tangible content, can be shared and it creates supporters. What are supporters? In social media, that would be your subscribers and followers on social media. And supporters are actually what I believe is the internet's currency because they create influence and opportunities globally. You're not just creating followers locally, you're creating it globally, which opens opportunities for you beyond just where you live. And the reason why I tell you this is because being a DJ is not enough if you're trying to succeed and move forward as a DJ, especially during the information age. You're competing with a lot of other people that are in the information age market, whether they know it or not. And it's good to be aware that this is what today is. And on a local scale, I was just previously talking about something global, something broad. On a local scale, once you start gigging, this is something that I practice and take this as a principle, not as a rule, just something that I think may help you out. Place your eggs or your gigs in multiple baskets. Don't settle for just DJing at only one club or residency. Now, I know this might vary where you live because maybe there's not a lot of places to spin at. But don't just settle just for one place. If possible, don't book the same venue more than once a week. Like, try not to be in the same place twice in a week. If it's possible, try not to be there more than once a month. When you're gigging at multiple venues, it gives you the opportunity to be in front of a new crowd more often. And having multiple venues generates a larger pool to create local supporters. And this is where I believe less is more. Now, as a new DJ, you might feel like, oh, I need to get every gig. And I think gaining the experience is important. But once you start getting the flow going, less is more. By not seeing you every week, your supporters will be more excited to see you. If it's the same DJ in the same club, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, it's very easy, even if you play creatively and differently every day, it's very easy for people to be like, oh, it's the same so-and-so once again. So when you spread out how often you show up at a venue, you actually, people will treat seeing you like they're going to an event. And having a loyal following creates leverage for increasing your booking fees. For example, if you get to the point where people love coming out when you play versus all the other DJs that may play in that same venue, and people start buying bottles or, like your group of friends or non-friends, just supporters, start coming out, you have more of the power to say, hey, can we start talking about increasing my fee because, you're making more money? I think it's time for me to, So this is one that I learned the hard way when I was a young adult, back when I was like 23 years old. When I was playing a residency that was Thursday, Friday, Saturday, if you lose a residency and you have multiple baskets, you have a gig here, a gig there, you still have all your other ones to rely on. Because if you work in one place, usually they don't just drop your days. They may just drop you and you'll lose a Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So it's good to have your eggs in multiple baskets. By having multiple venues, your schedule also becomes more flexible, and that's really important for other opportunities. If there's like a big event in town that you want to be part of, if you're the only DJ playing in one place, it's harder to get the manager or the owner to agree to bring someone else in to substitute for you. Now, going a different direction, I think it's really important that DJs, artists, producers, any musical craft, you have to find out what makes you unique. Because there's this common trope that, especially older DJs, that they like to say. Oh, wait, before I say that, my favorite quote regarding this is, Becoming the best at something is temporary because someone better can come along and take that away from you. What they never can take away from you is becoming the first at doing something. And I'm not absolutely sure, but I think that was Grandmaster Flash who said that. There's this I won't say older DJs, but there is a point where, like in a DJ community, some folks will start to say there's too many DJs and that's why I can't get ahead, I can't get this gig, or I can't maintain this crowd, whatever the case. I don't believe in this. In fact, what I think is really happening, even if there is a lot of DJs, is that there's too many DJs doing the same thing. And I think that's what the problem is. Figure out the element or approach to your performance or content that makes you different and stand out from everyone else. For me, I like to play in open format rooms and guide people to electronic music and at the same time playing my guitar. That's how I make myself stand out from my local crowd. Becoming used to the idea that be used to the idea that most DJs will not agree with what you want to try. But if you believe in it, do it anyway, because taking risks is part of the game. Sometimes you'll fail. Sometimes you'll have an idea and it'll just end up being a goofy idea. But all of the people who made a difference, who got farther ahead, are those who failed enough times to win. And here's another really important lesson. And I know this is a hard one, and it's that in the music industry, even if it's just local gigs and whatnot, it's not a meritocracy. You know, there will be a lot of moments in your career where someone less skilled or knowledgeable gets a gig or opportunity that you felt you deserved. But don't let that, I deserve that and not him, become your obstacle to stop you from working harder. Be humble enough to learn from the experience and be able to ask yourself, like, what did they do to get there and how can I grow from this? Not all opportunities are going to be given to you. The best ones are sometimes the ones you create yourself. There will be moments where who you know becomes as important as what you know and what you can do. Outside of a DJ competition, being the most skilled, talented, and knowledgeable is often not enough for getting gigs and creating opportunities. However, your supporters and network are the greatest leveraging tool. Never stop growing them. The only way to This is my favorite Steve Jobs quote. The only way to do great work is to love what you do. Despite how much luckier someone else is or how unfair an industry or system is, nothing else in the world is more powerful than the determination of someone who passionately believes in what they're doing. There's a greater reward in sharing art, exchanging a feeling, and creating moments to an audience that no traditional metric of success can amount to. The person that finds the joy in the journey is the one who becomes strong enough to see it to the end. And final advice, I had help from my friend Maggie Hugh from California. She's a recent student at a DJ school called Academy of DJs. And she told me that maybe for you guys, here's some advice for your first show. So being nervous is normal. The anxiety goes away with experience. Keep finding opportunities to gain experience. Majority of DJs, and I did a poll on this, are actually introverts, Like a lot of us are people who like gear, like music, and we like to be in that. And sometimes we're a little shy, I am for sure. DJing is usually their way of connecting with others. It's okay to make mistakes. Your first gig, your second gig, even the pros still make mistakes. I still goof up in front of people, including having a mistake long enough to get booed. Once in a while that happens. And when you're starting out, that'll happen. It's not about avoiding the mistakes, it's learning how to handle them. Most people only remember the last feeling you left them with. So if you make a mistake, follow it with an amazing set. And connect with your crowd. I know a lot of us maybe can be shy, but look at them when you play. Their vibe controls your actions, but when they feel your music, they will obey your command. Once they obey your command, it's almost like you can play anything you want with them. And then take your time to organize your music before your set. The less you have to look at your laptop, the more time you can spend reading the crowd and being part of the energy. Well, hope you guys enjoyed that. And if you got anything from it, please smash that like button and click that subscribe button with the bell icon. And once again, don't forget to follow Philip Tan's channel. I think it's really valuable knowledge that he's sharing on there. All right, really appreciate you for watching. Thanks. Take care. Stay healthy. The force is with you always.